This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome to another episode of Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. In studio with me is the glorious one, Chad Piranha. You are a guru, sir. And
Thank you. It's about time.
And I don't know, writing a book or shuffling his research paper is the English professor in parts unknown or whatever.
Looks like he's on the shitter.
Dressed up, too.
Yeah. Well,
Wow, what an intro. Just notes. Just notes for today.
Oh,
Sitting on a chair. I didn't take him to the bathroom with me.
well, that's good.
have you brewed your coffee? Do you got your potato chips out of the bag this week?
No, and I actually told Mrs. Professor, don't bring me any coffee, don't bring me any cookies, don't bring me any breakfast. We have listeners who are offended by that. We have co-hosts who are offended by that. So let's just skip all that this week. And I told her how, I talked about this last week, but how Pat called me to find out who the hell's eating cereal on the show. And I was honestly stunned. I have no idea. But Pat, I'm sorry. I'll find out. I'll watch one of those guys to see if they're eating anything. And then I noticed, like, oh, wait, I'm the one with the cookies in my hand. I'm the one who eats during the show.
All the time.
We're taking a week off from that.
Of eating. You're not going to eat for a week?
Yeah, try to, purge.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of purging, we'll get to NXT in a little bit, right? Yeah.
we will.
Xia Li promised to purge Casey Catanzaro, which, before we go any further, I'm not going to argue with you about whether you should roll the R, Mark, or whether it's Catanzaro or Catanzaro, whatever. But you add an extra la in there sometimes. You call her Catalanzaro. There's no la. It's Catanzaro. That's all.
I usually just say Casey anymore.
Yeah.
Casey.
Just stick to that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I noticed John combed his hair for this week's show.
Kid!
Well, yeah, I have to, as soon as we're done, I have errands to run.
You're looking very businesslike.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you mentioned that my wife's running.
Nobody mentioned that yet.
No, you didn't mention that yet. That's right. Just before you hit the.
But you can mention it now.
Yeah, she's running for school board here in one of our Pittsburgh boroughs. And she can't get her own signatures. So, being the good husband that I am, I'm out there getting signatures for her.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I know your kids or your oldest has a project coming up too. How's that working out? Did she get her practice in and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're working on a podcast. I don't know necessarily about what. She's going to be 15 here soon. And I understand the words that come out of her mouth, but piecing them together, I just don't get the message. I'm sure Ethan, there are times he says things, and you're just like, I understood every single word. I did not get the message.
No, it's Ethan's now speaking so fast that I get this, that, the other, friend, goodbye. I don't know. I don't know where he's going, where he's not home again. He's whatever. Yep, cool dude. Text me. Because I can read a text 12 times over and decipher what the hell he's trying to say compared to listening to him talk. Yeah, I don't know. Are we that far out of touch?
Yes.
With kids, not wrestling. We're on board with wrestling, but are we that far out of touch with wrestling?
With kids?
With kids?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Yep.
Huh. Are we our parents then now?
Yeah, I've given that serious thought. We really are. They'll tell us something about school, and then, oh my gosh, she said, and tripped and hit a wall. I'm like, big deal. And then Mark will call me and be like, Mark, remember that time you ran into a wall? And I'm like, wow. Maybe we've grown up, or we're just assholes who can't find the joy in our children's joy. I don't know.
I like the second one.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing, Chad. What's up with you?
Not a lot this week. Been watching old Royal Rumbles, backing up to as far as 1990.
Why aren't you going to the first one with Jim Duggan?
I just picked a random year, 1990, because it's in between when I was in my last year in high school.
Oh.
So I was like, go in there. There's going to be a new addition to the family.
Sue's pregnant.
I could
Let's
say
get
something.
that out there.
I could say
Let's get
something.
that out there.
No, you got to have sex for that stuff to happen. No, we are adopting a old English bulldog.
But it's new.
But it's new, like only 2 days new at this point.
And this is why Chad's a motherfucker. There, I'll get that out of the way real quick.
Well, fuck Pat while we're at it.
My dream to own one of these, and he's going to scoop in and get one.
No,
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's been one of those weeks. Getting ready next week to go fishing with my nephew on Niagara River. Kind of looking forward to that trip.
Yeah, get the hell out of Dodge for a little bit.
Yep, for a day or two. We might not fucking come back if I get my taxes in.
Huh. Well,
Oh, I know you're... Oh, yeah.
I'm heartbroken over that.
Mark's going to be on the fucking riverbank with a gun popping us off so we die in the fucking Niagara River.
No, I wouldn't. No.
He wouldn't go that far. He'd wish for it, but he wouldn't actually go through with it.
Fucking put a hole in the boat or something.
Exactly. I wouldn't be the one that killed you.
Speaking of shit like that, John, we didn't see anything about throwing fire or powder or anything. How did your match go?
I was going to mention that. Yeah. No, we didn't throw powder, and I should have, because that probably would have put me over. Yeah, he won, but nobody was home, so it turned into, crazy ass death match. Pillows or chairs, but beyond that, we were on tables and, like a Terry Funk, Ric Flair table pile driver spot.
Wow.
I probably should not be saying, but I was careful. I promise you guys I was careful.
But Sylvan won.
Yeah. I'm trying to even remember how. I think it was just one of those situations where move after move and I kept getting up, like, at WrestleMania 7, Warrior kept hitting Savage with shoulder blocks till he couldn't get up anymore, that kind of thing, or you keep doing a spear over and over, and eventually I was done. I was out.
Oh, okay. One thing that I did watch, and I thought of John, and I was laughing so fucking hard, tears were coming out of my eyes. I watched this scene where Elizabeth and Savage got back together, and John talking about how he was making fun of him and laughing the whole fucking trip, and I just started busting out laughing seeing all these people in the audience like just losing their shit and everything, like they're gonna have to go through counseling because Savage and fucking Elizabeth got back together. Funny as hell. John, I'm sorry.
No.
I thought
it'll never be like that again, unfortunately. It just it's different now, but it'll never be like that again. That level of raw emotion.
Nothing? All right. No, I'll tell you guys how my week was.
Mark, how'd your week go? How was your week?
My week was actually busy. Can Crusher busy. A lot coming out, so I'm going to make these announcements. Before I get the Can Crusher thing, guys, I'm going to give some props to 3 of my good friends. They just started a podcast, so I want this to be early. I know I effed it up last week, but it's called 40 Year Dash. It's about 3 guys. All of them are 33 years old, and they have 40 goals that they want to do by the time they turn 40. Again, it's everywhere. Go to Spotify. Mike, Cody, and Dan are on this. It's like us, guys. We're talking about wrestling. They're going to try to screw each other over by doing all these goals. It's great. It's a friendship thing. I'm going to be helping out however I can with them. They're just starting podcasts, so they don't know a lot of technical stuff and everything. So, however, I'm going to be there to help them. Give it a listen, because these guys, the shenanigans and the fuckery that they're going to do to each other is just like us. So there's my promo for them. 40-year dash. Give it a listen. All right.
40-year dash.
Yep. The announcements for Can Crushers. I don't know where to start because all of them are big. So let's go the one that's the furthest away to the one that's now. June 19th in Du Bois, Pennsylvania, there will be wrestling. Guaranteed. It is us working with, us working with Chad Miller and Al Snow to bring a huge card to Du Bois, Pennsylvania. Al will be on the show, Jax Dane will be on the show, and you'll get more names exclusively through us in the weeks to come. Chad will come on the show because it's a benefit as well, and we're going to get the beneficiary. Is that how I say it, John?
Yes.
Okay. To be on the show with us, and we're going to talk about what it's going to do for them. But let me just tell you, there are huge names already being linked to this. Yes, they're trying to get it on Fight or, a platform like that it's also a pay-per-view, so some of that money from Fight goes to the beneficiary as well. This is just big. You're going to see all three of us there at some point doing something. I'm not sure if we're going to get a spot in the ring or around the ring or something like that, but let me just tell you, Can Crushers will be there, and it is going to be a huge show. Tickets go on sale in April. If you need more information about any of this, send us an email. I can direct it to Chad if you have some questions, or if you're a talent that would like to somehow get involved in this, doing something, coming to sell shirts, donating your time, doing something like that, get a hold of us at cancrusher69@gmail.com, and we will get you linked up with Chad and Al, because this is going to be a pretty big show. I've leaked it to you guys over the last couple of weeks, but now it's officially out there that it's going to be something, guys. I know some names that are being linked that are not the same thing John says. The I's aren't dotted and the T's aren't crossed yet, but there's some big names.
That's exciting stuff.
Looking forward to this. Just as long as we don't have to, one under each of Al Snow's arms and help him around and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure one of the local hospitals will get us a hover around or a chair, wheelchair for him or something. Maybe we could hook up a remote to that chair and just fucking drive
him into the boulevard and stop it in Du Bois. Next, Can Crushers is now available on Mophie TV. People are like, wait, what? Yeah, we're not on TV, but all our audio are slowly getting... This is a long process. With us having about 270 episodes, this has taken some time. And he's going oldest to newest, so he's pulling up all the old stuff from day one and grabbing it and pulling it all over. Essentially, what this could be for us, if numbers continue to go and look great and everything. So if you guys want to help us out, if you're going to stream our show, when I tell you the new ones are online, and like I said, it might be a week and a half before the newest stuff is up there. If you want to help us out, listen to the show on that app. It's a free app. There's more content on there as well that you can watch TV shows. There's other podcasts. There's visual podcasts. But if you essentially just stream from Mophie TV, it really helps us out. And we could be exclusive to them here in the near future with them giving us some amazing upgrades and us possibly doing, shifting to some video and audio and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was big. But like I said, he's slowly he might have right now 30 episodes up. It's a process because he's got to get them from us, get us, all the links and everything that I have attached to it, this, that, and the other. So we've been working on that together, but they announced it, so I figured we should announce it too. So that's big news.
It's definitely going to open us up to a lot more platforms. We can bring over some of our fans. We're going to gain more people.
Yeah.
By being on there.
Yeah, it's just another avenue for people to hear our voices.
Yeah. And
bring our message to the masses.
Yes. And the big announcement. And this one is...
So this is even bigger than the ones... All right, go ahead.
Well,
is this the big show announcement?
This is not the big show announcement. That we're going to say...
That's a big fucking announcement.
That is, but that's not our announcement.
Okay.
This one is all thank you to the man to my right now. And it is... We have...
Oh, okay.
Half-assed right. He's your half-assed. Yeah. Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton is going to be on Can Crusher Spotlight this Wednesday. We sat down, Chad and I sat down with him about a week ago. Got this right. Interviewed him for about, an hour and a half? Hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was about an hour 45 minutes.
And it's all to Chad. We won't go into details, but he saw a picture of me and Shane Douglas, and then I talked to him, and then Chad kind of continued to talk to him a little bit more because I was doing some of this stuff, and we got it all squared away.
This was the Nikita Koloff one was great, but Ricky Morton being my favorite tag team of all time, one half of them. You remember when we went to the Crockett Cup in the meet and greet before, how just fucking dumbfounded I was going up and meeting these guys.
That's just your normal business.
Well, I mean, I was just, you want to talk about fucking, fan-struck or star-struck or whatever. This interview it's funny. He has serious. He gives us some inside stuff and all the shit that I've watched and listened to his that we didn't know.
He lets us into the business a little bit.
And he has no problem with saying what he thinks is wrong.
But don't ruin it, though.
And right with today's wrestling. I don't think you could ask for anything better.
Woo!
I can't wait to listen to that interview. I did listen to Nikita Koloff. I know last week I told you I hadn't listened yet, but as soon as we were done, I listened, and Mark, I texted you about it. Great stuff, guys. Really. You guys nailed that one. You hit it out of the park. One thing, honestly, that stood out for me was Nikita's Joe Laurinaitis impression. Not a Road Warrior Animal impression where he's like screaming or anything, but when they were looking for a Russian guy, and he said that Joe said, "I know a guy." That Joe Laurinaitis impression, it's like he's been around him his whole life and, picked up an impression of him. But that was like spot on. The whole thing, though, beginning to end, he was really forthcoming and gracious with all his information, and that's a good one to hang your hat on, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. As I said, this is going to probably be a longer show because even in segment 2, I have some surprises for these two, and then segment 3, we'll touch on IWC. But, guys, we also had a rough week in wrestling this week. We had a rough week as we lost two huge stars. One way back, and then one recent. People are going to say, was he really? Yeah, to us, yes, he was a huge star. Let's start with the way back first, because we probably go quick, Chad.
Yeah, this one, I recognized the name right off the bat and then had to remember, but Jumpin' Johnny DeFazio of Pittsburgh fame passed away this week at 80 years old. Famous for his work with Bruno Sammartino. He had a tag team rivalry with Dominic DeNucci against the Sicilians at the time, which was Lou Albano and Tony Ultimo.
It wasn't Enzo and Nunzio?
No,
Oh.
no.
Before that.
Oh,
Way before that.
way before that.
Great in-ring, loved by the fans. One of the best workers at the time. Just 80 years old. He lived a good full life. Unfortunately, age and, from what I read this morning, cancer caught up to him.
I know some about Jumpin' Johnny, about the Bruno stuff and the DeNucci stuff. I saw a couple of his matches. Anytime I think of Johnny, I think of our mechanic at work, an older gentleman. He talks about this era a lot, and I know a lot more about him because of our mechanic at work just telling me he saw him in St. Mary's, and he saw him when he was going to school in Pittsburgh, and he wrestled in Ridgeway one time. He always fought with Bruno and the Batman, they called him. So just listening to him tell stories, and I didn't know this till Chad walked into the studio today, so I'm sure he doesn't know this. I want to bring this to work tomorrow, and I know it's gonna touch him, and hopefully he tells me some more stories as we just talk about him. So yeah, that's what's gonna make me think of Jumpin' Johnny.
Yeah, definitely a local name. He held some sort of office, and from my understanding, he was also, what a throwback this guy was. He was a pro wrestler, and I understand he was a steel worker of the time, too. So just a hardworking, tough guy, and lived a good, long life, as you said, Chad. But it's certainly a Pittsburgh name. Living here, you see that name on political signs, not just Johnny DeFazio running for office, but I would imagine whether they're children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, whatever. Definitely a name that is synonymous with Pittsburgh, and people have come out from all different walks of life. News stations have mentioned, because he wrestled in the old studio wrestling, where they wrestled inside essentially a TV station studio. So yeah, definitely a Pittsburgh legend, with the likes of all the names you guys mentioned.
And the next one that we're going to talk about pretty much shattered the wrestling world today. Nick Aldis, James Storm, Eli Drake, or LA King, or LA Shyamalan, whatever we're calling him now. The whole NWA. We had the passing of Josephus, the question mark, this week. And when I saw it was on my way to work, it popped up that it happened like 2 hours. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it popped up at like 2:30 or whatever, 2 hours before I was heading to work. And I instantly posted it, and my heart just sunk, because 2 years ago, when he was red hot and he was at WrestleCade, he was just learning how to write the name Mark. He knew how to make the question sign, but he just was learning how to write the name Mark, and he just kept going with that. And it was a rough day that day, just thinking, man, he could have linked on with somebody else and continued to have a huge, let's say mid-card career with AEW or, Impact or somebody like that during this quarantine. And this one hurt.
Yeah, when I saw this, I instantly shot you the screenshot of it, and just reading about, like Nick Aldis talking about him, saying, this one's going to hurt. I don't have any more words. James Storm, who's, when I say a man's man, he's, not one to show emotions. He never has. But he was saying, this really sucks. He said, the thing I'm going to remember the most about him is whenever he was wrestling, he was always trying to do shit to get the guys to break character. Whether it's, little finger fucking tickling them or giving them a wet willy or, doing something stupid like that to break the guys. Just a character wrestler who had fun. Yeah. And
you want to talk about throwback?
Yeah.
He was a legit throwback, John.
I did not know about this. I had heard about Mr. DeFazio, but I had not heard about the question mark till you called me just this morning. That's a stunner. That really is. I read about him very quickly before we came on the air, and it just it seems like it's an undiagnosed medical issue, so no one is sure yet exactly what happened. He was so much fun. I mean, what I knew of him, I knew from the NWA. As Josephus, I just thought, okay, he's maybe a lower card guy. Let me try to get to know this guy, and there wasn't a whole lot to know about him. And I was fooled. I was fooled when the question mark came out. I'm like, this is brilliant. The guy was so crazy over. And this was just back in the day when you said, John, Owen Hart's under the mask, right? And I honestly did not know that. And then you told me, that's Josephus is a question mark. I was like, no, I had no idea. He had me fooled. That was so fun. The fans loved it. And his routine with the national champion,
Aaron Stevens.
Stevens, yes. Shooter Stevens. That was so much fun too. They were a fun team. Were they a great team? It's about having fun. And they were fun.
Were they better than the Road Warriors?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here, and we just lost this guy, so I'm searching for nice things. But I would say that's where I draw the line. They were not better than the Road Warriors.
So that shtick is officially ended about a year and a half later.
But he was a lot of fun. The question mark was very enjoyable, and the crowd loved it. That's all that matters. The crowd loved it.
We joined I think I can say we speak for, or I speak for all of us when we joined the people of Monrovia in their year-long mourning with their flag at half-staff, and this unfortunately puts an end to karate training.
It does. Guys, we raise our glasses to Johnny DeFazio and the question mark. Guys, rest in peace. All right, guys, rough transition, but let's get on to this week's wrestling. And holy shamoles, we're going to start with the Elimination Chamber. And I'm going to throw it out there right off the bat and see how much heat I get. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. I enjoyed it. And I love the ending as I'm getting shot with daggers right now. But let's talk about the pre-show.
Card of the Year candidate.
Really?
That's good.
Really?
Candidate. And it's only February.
Okay. So it could drop off quickly.
Yes.
All right, so you're only judging it off of this and Royal Rumble for WWE.
Yeah, and like IWC that we watched, and
okay,
yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Chad hated it.
It was okay. We'll talk about that fucking ending.
Pre-show. Ali, Ricochet, Elias, and Morrison. Whoever wins gets the U.S. title match later on. I thought this match was good, and you know that the three of us don't really like four-way matches.
Yeah, I agree. I don't love four-way matches, and we got a whole card of 4, 5, 6 people matches. I like John Morrison. I don't know why he doesn't get more of a push. I'm glad he won this match. I think I think the whole Mustafa Ali and slap dick and everything and teabag, I don't get where they're going. And more on that when we get to Raw. But, yeah, good match. I'm glad Morrison won.
I did not watch it. I just figured it was going to be painful enough to fucking stomach the chamber matches itself.
And it starts with a chamber match. It's a SmackDown chamber match. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro start. Corbin's in third. Sammy's in fourth. And the rest of them come in 5 and 6. I stopped writing down. KO and then Uso, I believe. Yeah, is in that order. We were both right, essentially. All three of us. Not both, because there's 3 of us on the show. It came down to Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, right?
Yeah.
They started it and they ended it. So all of us had kind of the last 2. John and I were correct with Daniel winning.
Well, shit happens. Even a blind squirrel finds nuts sometimes.
And you would think I wrote down who our picks were. So let me do that as you guys talk, because I wasn't prepared.
I enjoyed the hell out of this match. I thought there was a lot of really good drama, Mark. You and I, we marked out at moments. We texted each other back and forth. You know, we're not going to act like we're too cool for school. We got emotionally involved. I told you that the way things were playing out, I thought Jey Uso was going to win and get in a situation where he refused to lie down for his cousin. I'm glad Daniel Bryan won. The match after this, we might as well discuss them together because they run together.
Right. I was
totally soured this whole thing for me. Okay, fine. Roman Reigns defends. I have no problem with that. I'm not one of those marks who needs to see a new champion every card or it's a dud. But this was aggravating. Just put Roman Reigns in the match. Just put him in the match. Did you need King Corbin in there? Wouldn't it have been better served to have Roman Reigns in that match? You could have had him with Jey Uso. You could have had them fighting, whether Jey Uso screws something up and Roman Reigns gets mad and hits him. Jey Uso defends himself. Give us something. If this is what we're going to get out of Roman Reigns, just give us Brock Lesnar.
Exactly.
At least the guy draws heat. At least that guy draws heat. I'm so disappointed. I really am. I'm over Reigns, and I'll be honest, I didn't check into SmackDown, and I don't anymore. If that's the guy on that brand, I'm not interested. That guy can't go 5 minutes? And maybe Bryan was hurt. He'd been in there 40 minutes, whatever the hell it was. But come on. I'm so tired of this 2 moves and it's over.
It was, when I seen who they had, or who was going to win it, as much as I was rooting for Cesaro, I kind of thought about John saying, yeah, it's going to be Daniel Bryan. And I knew Reigns was going to come down afterwards. And I knew it was going to be this type of ending the whole fucking time. That's what soured it for me. If they would have said, oh, there's going to be a match break in between or a half an hour break in between, I could have been a little bit more invested, but they're playing the Roman Reigns role as he is a total dick.
Yeah.
Up along the lines of John Holmes fame. But they're doing it right. Guys, I know you said about Brock Lesnar. Lesnar does get the heat just because nobody fucking likes him. But Reigns is doing what he excels at. He's being the dick. And when it catches up to him, I'm not saying it's the same as when we were growing up watching wrestling in the early 80s and that. But when it catches up to him and somebody takes that fucking title from him, it's going to make this that much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't have anything else to add to that, so let's move along. we're not going to talk about Bad Bunny and Priest because John's going to say something about him on Raw, so I'm sure.
Are we going to have a talk about possible WrestleMania matches?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
we need to mention that.
Yeah. U.S. title match. By the way, none of us got this right. None of us got this right. As it was Bobby Lashley against Keith Lee, but then it ends up not being Keith Lee. It ends up being Morrison and Riddle. I don't care. I'm not a Riddle fan. I just can't get behind him. He wins. He wins. That's it.
I was surprised. I think, go back and listen, I picked Bobby Lashley.
We all did.
Yeah, and I just thought that would have been more momentum going into his story with The Miz. Like, hey, I helped you win. Now you owe me a title shot, and he's got a belt of his own. I've always loved champion versus champion matches. A United States champion against a world champion. I thought there's no reason to take it off of Lashley and put it on Riddle. At this point, and I'm a Riddle fan. I don't think he's done enough to warrant a United States title run. I was shocked by that. I thought Lashley should have held on.
I fucking hate matches where the champion loses his title and he's not pinned. Fucking hate them. And this one, especially Lashley with his run, and then Matt Riddle wins by beating John Morrison after Riddle the last couple of weeks has been tossed around like fucking Darby Allin in a body bag by Lashley. This was bad.
We don't get reference to the women's championship match at all during the show.
So is she really pregnant? Is that a work?
No, she's really pregnant.
She's really pregnant.
She really is. Okay, well then that's good. Congratulations, and hopefully family's healthy and everybody's well.
But why not have somebody come out and take on Asuka, or Asuka come out and say, I have an open challenge or something then. Yeah. And then we could get anybody, Peyton, Ripley, somebody, but they just completely scrapped that, bringing the card down to only 5 matches. Next up is a women's tag team championship match. Nia and Shayna against Sasha and Bianca. John got it right. I said that Sasha and Bianca would win the match, but not the titles. Chad said they win the titles. So, yeah. And I'm all right. I was all right with it. I really was. Yeah. I just wish Reggie would stop being linked with Sasha, because does that mean that Sasha and Carmella are going to have another match, which wasn't good?
Yeah, I hope not. I really hope not. I hope, actually, when she's no longer champion, not for a long time, because she deserves to be a champion with a long reign, I'd like to see her and Bianca Belair with the run as champions. I think they're a nice team. Was this just thrown together? If there's a story behind this team, I am not aware of it. How the hell did Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks form a team to challenge for the titles?
Hello, ding dong. They showed up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like them as a team. They have similar vibe, similar look, similar attitude. I think they'd be good given some time together. I'd like to see this match again. Maybe when Sasha doesn't have the women's championship with her.
Yeah, that's because you love Nia and Shayna as well.
I do. Yeah, I like everybody in that match. They're all getting pushes in my promotion, too.
Oh, it's your promotion.
My segment of it, sorry.
Oh.
I didn't care for this match. I kind of figured more that it was going to end in, you might as well say a no decision type thing. Funniest thing that I heard out of Jim Cornette this week when he reviewed it was he said Nia Jax reminded him of Grimace.
God.
Moving along to the Raw Chamber match then. We don't have to break it down who comes in and everything, but Drew retains, which we all said Drew retains. So our final score, John has 3, Mark has 3, Chad has 2. So John, we tied.
All right.
Because none of us predicted that the Miz were going to win.
Yeah.
We thought if there was going to be a champion going to WrestleMania, it was going to be Drew. We all thought that.
Yeah.
So, good job, boys. But I went nuts. And I told John, after this all happened, I said, watch. I had a feeling Lashley was going to come out. He destroyed Drew afterwards. And I didn't know if The Miz was going to come out. I thought, all right, taking the title off of Drew, because I still wasn't talking about that yet, taking the title off of Bobby, set up Drew and Bob for WrestleMania then. Because I said, well, Drew doesn't have anybody to go against because Edge has already speared Roman and taken him out, this, that, and the other thing. I said, so he's made his chance. I said, this would be a great WrestleMania match. And then all of a sudden, awesome! Comes down, cashes in, and wins. My question to you guys, does Miz keep it through WrestleMania now? Or do we get him losing it to Bob in a couple weeks at Fastlane, thus bringing Drew back to then get to Bobby anyway?
I don't think he loses it, Miz. No, I think he'll be champion at WrestleMania. Side note, this is what I enjoy. We've talked about it how many times, the intertwining of stories. It's what keeps things interesting, and it keeps it fresh. You don't know where it's going necessarily. I still like Lashley as the United States champion in all this. I don't mind another champion in the mix, in the thick of this. So that, to your point, Mark, if we do get Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, maybe it's for the United States Championship. But Riddle has that now, so never mind. I like this story. It's got me interested. I like what they did here with The Miz and Drew and his buddy that he pinned at the end. I'm sure he's not out of this picture either.
Sheamus.
The Irish guy. Sheamus, thank you.
This match, I don't know if you guys, how closely you watched it. Did y'all see that stiff 360 that AJ did on Drew? Holy fuck. Yeah. Drew fucking rolls over and he's like, fuck. You can see him, fuck. And then he let him do it again.
Yeah. Just as stiff.
But no, the second one wasn't. AJ overshot him a little bit on the second one, which was what he was supposed to do. But that first one, I don't know how the fuck Drew got up after that, because he took the full fucking weight on his chest. I'm not a fan of The Miz. I never have been. I hope Bobby Lashley beats the fuck out of him. And like Lashley did to the last guy, I hope he takes his hot blonde wife.
Jesus.
I'm not a fan either. I cannot support that guy.
And I will say this on the record now. If they fucking put The Miz defending the title at WrestleMania against Bugs Bunny, I ain't watching the fucking pay-per-view. I will not fucking watch it. I will tell Vinny if he wants to watch it to go down to Mark's house.
Bugs Bunny is not going to get that match. He's going to...
As fucking stupid as the McMahons are, why not? Why not? I can see it happening, and it really scares me, especially to the point that this year's WrestleMania is going to be over 2 fucking days. I can see them doing it.
You just soured me on that. I can't.
That's why I don't give a fuck if Austin Theory comes up and beats the fucking Miz for the title. As long as Miz doesn't go against fucking Bugs Bunny, it's the only thing that has me worried.
I don't think they'll go down that path. I personally don't think that. I don't think the Miz has it till WrestleMania. I really don't. That's just mine. All right, so let's go to Raw. And I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Let's just talk about what you want to talk about on Raw, because I know, John, you want to talk about Retribution, how great they are. I know you want to talk about Bugs Bunny and Priest, because you were excited about that when you texted me. Randy spitting up tar. That was disgustingly sick. we're getting the same thing from Charlotte and Flair that we had 6 years ago. Again. Twice now. And what is Braun Strowman nowadays? Just a big guy that loses.
Yep, I wanted to lead with that, since that's kind of what kicked off the show, essentially. That guy, he's got the size and he's got the look, and that's why he's in the line of work in which he is. I don't think he's any good. I've never cared for him on the mic, in the ring. I didn't think his match with Lashley was particularly good. I wish he would have won, just because it had added another element to a possible triple threat match against The Miz. Otherwise, I don't know what the purpose of this match was. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this. Braun Strowman meant to say he's either every bit as qualified or has all the qualifications of Bobby Lashley, but he said he has all the clarifications of Bobby Lashley. I'm like, you can't give this guy something to say. I can't stand him. I can't. He's lucky he's 6'9". He's Big John stud size. That's why he works. He's 380 pounds and he's 6'9".
A lot of these, Braun Strowman is a perfect example of a lot of these guys these days of guaranteed contracts and stuff like that, that they get away with sucking and fucking things up, because it doesn't matter if they put asses in the seats. They get their money. And I don't know who Strowman pissed off that he's getting beat by, seems everybody nowadays.
Yeah, but Bob's one that you're looking at both of them that, yes, Bob can beat him. Bob's got a better pedigree, better wrestling ability, da-da-da-da-da. It's when Braun loses to James Ellsworth that you're like, what? Really? And I'm not a Braun fan. Go back and listen on Mophie when Braun came out. I was never a huge fan of him, even with, I was going to say the Sheep Herders, but he was with the brave Wyatt family. I don't know why the Sheep Herders popped into my head.
I liked him when he was in the Wyatt family because those guys played off of each other.
Right.
Bray Wyatt, the fucking, goofy bastard that could, do all the aerial stuff. Luke Harper, more of, he had some technical ability. They were not as good, but they were just like the Shield. You had a technical guy, you had a brawler, and you had the muscle. Braun Strowman is the muscle nowadays. It's just meh.
Yeah, and you have a group around him. That's the thing, is he didn't have to carry the load in that group. Now he's his own thing. I don't think he's great in the ring. I think he's terrible on the mic. And I mentioned Big John Studd. In fairness, that guy was a terrible interview. But you put Fred Blassie with him, and you put Bobby Heenan with him, and they spoke for him. On his own, Braun Strowman is not a guy that can give you an interview.
I'll bring up one last thing about him, and it's, fate has its way of biting you in the ass at, the opportune time. When the pandemic started and the wrestlers were, especially the independents were losing a lot of money because they weren't getting booked, and there was, GoFundMes or stuff like that, Strowman went on a record of bashing these wrestlers for taking money and saying maybe if they did their shit right, they wouldn't be in this type of situation, or maybe if they were good. This coming from a guy that was a fucking weightlifter with no in-ring experience that Vince saw, got a hard-on over, and brought him into wrestling. Maybe it's coming to bite him in the ass now that, he's lost his luster in Vince's eye, so, next up, maybe they'll bring fucking Hornswoggle back to beat him.
Yes!
I'll fucking book that.
You guys, excuse me, you just talked to Nikita Koloff, and what did he say? He's like, are you sure about this, Jim? I have never been in a ring. I have never had an amateur wrestling match. And he's like, just shave your head and look menacing. So, but it can work. It can work. I just don't think it's worked
for him.
This guy. It just hasn't. Go ahead.
Next up, let's talk about Retribution real quick, because I know you brought them up. What a faction that at one point I was like, all right, they could cause some chaos and everything. I was going to slightly be behind them. Now I don't care. I like the Oddities better than I like Retribution. And if there's anybody I feel bad for, it's Mia Yim. She's lost. I mean, she wasn't... I don't want to say she was ever a huge star, but she had something going for her in NXT. They brought her up, and now there's 5 people in this faction, and she's the 8th person, and she's not even getting women's matches, so she's at the bottom of the barrel in the women's division as well. She is just lost because she doesn't do it, and that's who I feel bad for. All these other guys can be repackaged. Mia's got to take time off and just repackage and go back down to NXT and get rebuild again.
And this didn't do Mustafa Ali any favors either, because I think he had potential to be a really special athlete. This has damaged him, I think it's damaged him.
What's the guy? I forgot his name.
Exactly.
The tall motherfucker.
Dijakovic.
That look at the shit that he was doing in NXT and everything, and then they bring him up and he has to go to Just Incredible and get the fucking jockstrap mask and put that on.
Aldo Montoya reference. This is just a bad faction that has done nothing.
Yeah. I gotta say, and I don't give Mark props often because, well, he sucks, but
fuck you, Pat.
Yeah, fuck you too, Pat. But I've come around to the Dark Order, laughing at them, and they're entertaining, and they're fucking good athletes. This
garbage.
You got Mustafa Ali, who thinks he's fucking, going to be in the next Iron Man movie with his lighted hand and shit. You got fucking jockstrap, teabag, and slap nuts. Oh, my God.
Next bitch that we're going to have about Raw is going to be brought to you by the English professor, because he sent me a text about how he is such a big fan of Damian Priest now.
I was. You're being sarcastic. I was. He was one of my favorites in NXT. His program with Karrion Kross, if you guys go back and remember, I thought so highly of both of them. I liked both of them so equally. I routinely called Karrion Kross Damian Priest and Damian Priest Karrion Kross. There are entire segments where I'm talking about Karrion Kross and I'm referring to him as Damian Priest until Mark is like, wait, I think you're confused. So anyway, that's how much I like this guy. I'm done with him. They put this moron with him. Bugs Bunny, Bad Bunny. It's an insult. It's an insult to Angel Garza, who is a talented athlete and was going places until, I don't know, somebody decided something or other that he shouldn't for some reason. This is terrible. The guy doesn't deserve to have this 115-pound puny little shit with a belt on his shoulder talking shit to him during his match. Fuck Bad Bunny, man. This is everything I hate about the McMahons and the WWE. That's what I hate about them.
Here is a bad angle that I could see them taking to WrestleMania is like I said, I will not fucking watch it if they put Bugs Bunny against The Miz for the title. On the other hand, if they have Bugs Bunny in Damian Priest's corner against Miz for the title, I will call it right now. If that match is made, Damian Priest will win the title at WrestleMania.
Anything else you guys want to bring up on Raw that was wonderful?
I can't believe there was some good stuff and there were some stories. You talked about Charlotte and Asuka, and they finished with AJ Styles, but before that, one of the last matches of the night was Lana and Naomi against Dana and Mandy. I mean, guys, that's how you want to go out on this show? Is these two teams?
Your flagship show, your highest rated show, and you put a reconstructed person, a person with more plastic than a Tonka toy, and 2 pieces of eye candy as your main fucking event. This should have been the nut scratcher, I gotta go to the bathroom.
It was a quick match, too.
Type fucking match.
And it was quick. There was nothing going on in it. All right, so let's transition to SmackDown. All right, Roman's out. Yep. Edge comes out. Yep. Daniel comes out. Yep. Uso attacks him. Okay. We get a match. End of the show. Daniel against Uso. Daniel wins. He gets a title shot. Wait.
Now, hold on. With the Edge thing, do you think that they pull a swerve that Edge doesn't go against Roman? Because they laid the fucking...
They laid it out.
They laid the work for Edge. Fuck you. You don't deserve me. You don't deserve this match. Do they pull a swerve? They put it out there.
They did. Ray and Dom against Chad and Otis was enthralling. Apollo Crews, I'm just running through this so John knows. Apollo Crews now knows he's the Nigerian royalty. His great-grandfather was Hoo-Ha and had 5 wives. And Apollo, that's what he said.
And he's not, no, in fucking Apollo, you're not getting your fucking money back. That money's mine. You fucked up.
Oh, my God.
He had a first name, but the last name was Hoo-Ha. So I'm like, oh, my God. Liv against Tamina, great. Bianca makes her prediction, her selection. She's going to take on...
Wait, Liv against Tamina? They had the audacity? Wow.
The Street Profits against Sammy and Corbin. Rollins talks about Cesaro, and I got lost in all that, and then Seth gets beat up. And then we get Daniel against Uso, and it's a double count out, and Roman beats his ass again, which leads to another match next week in a steel cage.
That's a good rundown.
Yeah, that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown. Nothing. It starts with Roman bitching and ends with Roman beating the shit out of Daniel. And
it's the Roman show. It is Vince's hard on for Roman Reigns. Guys, we wish the guy well when we found out he was sick, and we wanted him to come back, and we meant it, and now he's back. And we're glad he's back because it means he's healthy. But this is garbage what he's doing, and it's shameful. It really is. It's shameful. I don't ever want to hear a complaint about Hulk Hogan again. Never, ever. That guy was in 2 cities in different parts of our country in the same day, working against Paul Orndorff. Even if it was 10 minutes, they worked for it. Whatever. I'm not giving this guy any more of our time.
NXT then. Starts off with Johnny Gargano against Loomis in a non-title match. This was a hell of a match. I loved it.
It kicks off, though, with Scarlett and talking about whatever. But I could listen to her say stuff I don't understand all day long. And the cards that mean what they mean. I love that. I love her and him. They're great together. But yes, this was an awesome match.
Run with it.
Oh, you want me to run with it? All right. Gargano, it's a non-title match. Of course, these guys are going to put on a good match. The story here is that Indy Hartwell may be in love with Dexter Lumis.
I love it.
And also that Austin Theory, I guess, didn't mind being kidnapped. Maybe he sucked in too much chloroform and it's messing with his brain, but he kind of likes Dexter Lumis. In fact, it came down to, this was like 4 against 1 the entire time. You even had Candice LeRae attempting a Hurricane Rana outside the ring, from the apron, and Loomis caught her and then set her down. And there was a cool spot where when he set her down, Gargano's baseball slid between her feet and kicked Loomis in the face outside the ring. So he was fighting off everybody the entire time. But towards the end, Austin Theory was supposed to hit him with the chair and then just couldn't do it. And it ended up costing Gargano the match. And we find out afterwards, he's like, look, he's not such a bad guy. So they're putting Theory in therapy to find out what happened, why he suddenly thinks Loomis, this psychopath, as Gargano calls him, is such a good guy.
Theory is working his way into being even a bigger star than he is already.
Yeah. Now, my concern with this match was if Austin Theory would have actually swung the chair, he probably would have only been able to hit him in the fucking kneecap.
He's
tall as he is, yeah.
Regal's looking for Escobar all show, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the next thing up is Tyler Rust against Leon Ruff is going to happen, but it doesn't happen because John's other favorite guy swerves us all.
Yeah, comes out and puts a good one. That was really good. Am I the only one that's bothered by the fact that they call this guy a diamond in the rust? Isn't the saying a diamond in the rough?
It is.
Which would work better for Leon Ruff.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to do something with these three guys who don't really have a program right now, so I can admire that.
Y'all follow, well, I know you don't, but I'm looking to John for this. Wasn't Escobar's wife arrested earlier this week?
For what?
The news?
Who's Escobar's wife, first of all?
I seen her name. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Guerrera's wife, the Mexican drug runner. His wife was arrested, not Escobar's wife. My bad.
Jeez. All right. Cameron Grimes playing this whole $1 Million Man spot had me cracking up the whole night. Two stupid spots that I liked. He wants to give somebody $1,000. They bounced the ball 10 times. He's like, oh, man, I didn't watch the whole clip. He didn't kick it away. Then you find out that he does it again, and this chick was actually a former WNBA player who bounces it through her legs and takes his money, too. I love Cameron Grimes right now.
Me too. And this was personal for you because when we met the $1 Million Man, and you said you were a big fan of his, and he said, how old are you? You don't look like you're old enough really to remember me. And you said, Ted, I remember you asking the kid to bounce the basketball 10 times and then kicking it away just before he got to 10. He's like, oh, wow, you remember that. So Cameron Grimes didn't remember it. He was going to watch it just to, pick on some people and, dangle some money in front of their faces. He should have watched the whole video.
I was like eye rolling at this, and I got a chuckle because I remembered, and we've talked about it before, and you can go and find it at a autograph signing a couple years ago. Guy walked up to get a autograph from Ted DiBiase, and he's like, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And Ted's like, "No." He's like, "Remember the little kid with the basketball?" And it was the kid with the basketball from TV, grown up, went to an autograph signing with him, or to get with Ted. And Ted said, that was one of the greatest moments in my wrestling career, was this guy coming back at 40-some plus years old, and they took a picture with the guy dribbling a basketball and DiBiase kicking the basketball out from and under him.
That's awesome.
That is great.
That guy, as a kid, was scared shitless to be on that stage, though. If you go back and look, he looks
wide-eyed. Yeah. And I'll say this again. Everything I've heard is that kid got taken backstage and met everybody and got everything, which is awesome. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, DiBiase signed gave him a basketball, specially made basketball with the $1 million man symbol and stuff, and autograph for him. The guy has it at his house.
That's awesome. Zoe Stark taking on Io, and Stark looks good. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Tony Storm comes out and challenges Io. Io says, "Yep, let's go at it." That's what that match was for.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add to that is Stark looks good, as you said. Say you want to win. Don't give me this Rocky story of I just want to be there at the end when the bell rings and hang with the champion. Say you want to win. That's why you should be going into a ring, is to win. Do I believe for a second you're going to win? No. Am I going to say, you're full of shit? Yeah, absolutely. But tell me you want to win. Because now, did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish? How long did you want to hang? What was the time limit that you were shooting for? You know? At least if you win, we know. If you lose, we know. But that's all.
We covered the way. We covered Grimes. Casey takes on Zaya.
What's her last name? Mark.
Catanzaro.
So you add the extra la.
Catanzaro.
There you go.
Catanzaro. Casey.
Catanzaro. Yeah. This was essentially a squash. The referee stopped it. The stories afterwards, Caden Carter tried to talk to that 6,000-year-old guy to get him to stop what he's doing. But that other guy stood in front, and he was not going to let her anywhere near him because the last time he did, he got Darth Vader choked.
Right.
So he doesn't want that anymore.
Zaya still doesn't impress me.
Same. I'm so disappointed.
This did not, Casey is, yes, somebody that you know on NXT, but she's still not top of the tier. She still should have, just throttled her quicker. And the injury could have ended in an injury. I'm all right with that. But this went through a break.
Yeah.
This should not have gone through a break if Zaya is so good.
Agreed.
Chad nods.
Yep.
Drake and Killian against the Grizzled, and the Grizzled wins. Okay.
I think they're heading towards a breakup.
Who?
Dane and...
you're invested in that group? Good.
No, I think they're heading towards a breakup is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, yeah. Because he carried him into the back. I don't know who it was that stopped him and said, you used to be a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
they
thinking
can break
the same thing.
They're following the Bulk and the Xander thing completely.
Just as long as they don't go the Chuck and Billy route, we're good.
Cross finally shows up in the parking lot. We get a brawl between everybody from Legado del Fantasma, and then it finally makes its way into the ring. This was good for what it was good for. I hope Cross is done with these guys, though. I want to see him attacking other people. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's beating the shit out of them. He's going to win. His hottie's out there with him. Let's get her talking some more of her gibberish. Yeah, you want to see him in more impactful matches and feuds.
Yeah, exactly.
I said that I question this, but I still like it. I don't know why this monster, who's a heel, has it in for the Cruiserweight champion, who's also a heel. But I enjoyed it. I really did. His guys took insane bumps from Karrion Kross. There was a point where, Wild was, I don't know, his upper half was going one way and his lower half went the other way after crashing through that plastic surrounding the...
it's called a barrier.
The barrier, thank you, surrounding what would be the seats. This was great. This was really enjoyable. I didn't think Kross was going to win. I thought eventually the other three guys were going to overcome him. Again, I love this story. I don't know what I like about it. On paper, it shouldn't work. But these guys and this lady all together really, really made this work.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. It's just, I don't think there's a continuing part of it. He doesn't need the Cruiserweight title. So
I agree. Getting to the last part of this show, in hindsight, would you have added an extra match? Would you have had one of these matches go a little longer? Because Kross gets the win, and I'm seeing there's still 15 minutes left, and they have nothing but Adam Cole. This went long, and it was predictable.
Yeah, I did think this went, that was one of my notes. I think this went a little bit long. You knew what was going to happen, especially when he gets clotheslined and starts crying. We're like, well, here it comes. And then he's on his knees for way too long. It just...
Yeah, they're hugging it out.
Yeah. I love it, though. I do love it, but they could have spotlighted anything. Show me something for 5 minutes, something for whatever. It just was long.
Drawn out too long, but Adam Cole, such a fucking bastard. Absolutely love it. I don't think that this guy can put his touch on anything and it not be fucking gold.
Nice.
That's it.
That's it. Quick and easy. I like that. AEW. Overall, what'd you guys think of AEW? Just a quick synopsis. I mean, we can talk about it and we'll break it down, but what'd you guys think overall on AEW? It was for me.
Yeah, same here. I watched the first hour in like 10 minutes, and then I had to run an errand with my wife that I won't get into, but Sylvan was texting me what was going on the rest of the show. It seems like the second hour was better than the first hour.
Yeah. Mox against the Hollywood Hunk. Easy win. Well, that's it. He wants Omega.
Yeah. And it's going to be, they're going to be barbed wire. Well, Chad can speak to this, right? Because this is a traditional Japanese style death match.
Yeah, this is where the shit came out of, was the Cactus Jack, Ibushi type thing. It's going to be a spectacle. That's it.
It's going to be something.
I'll just say congratulations, Jon Moxley, retaining the IWGP U.S. title against Kenta. That is another one that's available on NewJapanWorld.com for 999,000 yen.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. But if I see Kenny Omega get the shit kicked out of him, I don't care who does it.
Starks and Cage against the Varsity Blondes. A nice match. I like that there was a lot of focus on the Varsity Blondes. I always want to call them Hollywood Blondes, but they're going to be the Varsity Blondes. Sting did nothing for me. Darby did nothing for me either. Getting drug out in the bag and stuff. I was just like
Sting can still move, though.
Yeah.
That's what's surprising. There's a lot of guys, his contemporaries. I mean, we just watched a pay-per-view that was from, 20 years ago, and already then, like, Sheik was taking baby steps because he could barely move. Sting is in really good shape.
John, talking about watching older pay-per-views, one of the ones that I watched this week had Sting against Mike Rotundo for the TV title. And this was before a War Games match, so they had the double rings out. The best fucking leap I've ever seen. Sting went from side of one ring over and into the other ring, probably a quarter of the way, with a fucking leap on Rotundo. And just a guy that size still can move. I always, after Owen Hart's death, I don't like guys coming out of the ceiling. I don't care how it's done. I don't. Just stop. Just stop. It's.
Yep, I agree. That was my first thought.
You can't help but think of that when you see it. Yeah.
Kip, Penelope, and Miro talking with Tony. I don't know what really came out of this segment.
Agreed. It was humorous, but I don't know that I got anything out of it.
Brandon Cutler coming out like he's the next big Van Vader, taking on Hager.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know he was taking on Hager until I see Hager. And I thought, wow, this guy is going to destroy somebody. You're going to give this guy that kind of an intro? Just to kind of go out there and get beat? Like,
in seconds! In seconds!
And wasn't this the douche that was removed from the match a couple of weeks ago?
Yep.
When Wardlow had to pull out?
Yep.
And then they treat him like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes when this notion of everybody's a star makes no sense. It becomes like, I don't know, like a video game where, every guy's got their entrance on a video game, and you can't really help what happens on a video game. It's not scripted in a video game. But yeah, you're going to give this guy this entrance and then just have him go get his ass whipped. That made no sense.
And then Hager
Give
walks...
Hager another piece of meat to stomp. What's that, Mark?
And he walks out in a pair of shorts and a towel.
Yeah.
Who looks like the jobber?
Exactly.
Whatever. Then what happened afterwards, because it's linked together, the Bucks are in for the save, and then the dad gets thrown against the truck, and then this was just complete garbage. The dad looked dead on the gurney. He looked like he was in the return of apocalypse zombie or something. What the hell was this all about?
Okay. So it drew heat. For me, it drew heat. This reminded me, and I keep going back to this because it was brilliant, when the fraternity kept beating on Britt Baker, and she clearly can't defend herself, and it wasn't even vicious anymore. Like, it was stiff, but it wasn't vicious. They were toying with her, and people, it was palatable. You could feel the heat in the crowd. That's what this did for me. Like, they've got a guy, either one of them can outmatch him. He's not a professional wrestler. They are. They've bloodied him. They're now rubbing his face on a truck, which just so happens to have images of his sons. I thought that was great. What happened afterwards, I'm like, and that's what I said to you, Mark. I said, these guys are amazing athletes, the Bucks. They're not performers. They're not wrestlers. They were just like, shit. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's get him in there. All right. And then the Good Brothers were like, we'll go. I didn't get what was going on. And I think Nick maybe, or the other one said, stay here so you can call mom. You can call mom from the moon these days. Why does he have to stay behind to call mom? I needed so much more out of the Young Bucks. I needed venom. I needed to believe they wanted to murder these guys. And they were just like, shit, we were going to go to our favorite vegan restaurant. I guess we'll go to the hospital instead.
Chad looks like you just went in depression mode.
If these two Chihuahua ankle-biting motherfuckers would drop off of the face of the wrestling earth, I would be ecstatic. I don't like anything they do.
Remember that you said that. Let me just say something.
I don't. They're athletes, but at the same token, John Daly, 75 pounds overweight, was a fucking athlete in golf. I don't like these guys.
Okay, moving along. You're going to bite your tongue. The Hardy Group against the Hangman. I'm kind of over this. And I think they're hurting Hangman in all of this.
This is a guy who's easily one of the more talented people on the roster, in my opinion. Hangman is. Get to the point already. I agree. They're wasting his time. And his talents.
Why are you shitting on such a talent? A person that legitimately was in the first AEW match, and there was talk of putting the title on him over Jericho. A lot of serious talk. And now you have him with fucking Matt Hardy and the
PP party,
the Pecker Pullers party. I don't get it. And we gotta talk a little bit at some point about the Wrestling Observer Awards. Maybe we'll do that next week.
You have to.
We're behind. We'll do that next week, but oh my God, it just...
All right, women's update bracket from Japan. Nobody cares what's going on over there.
Oh!
Except Chad.
No, I gotta bring something up. Do you know who a lot of these wrestlers over there are coming from? Who is managing them?
No.
The one that dressed up as Charlie Chan or whatever with the fucking cane and mustache.
Groucho Marx?
No, in AEW, the woman wrestler.
Oh, she wasn't Charlie. She was Hikaru Shida or something like that.
What?
She was Freddie Mercury, you idiot.
Well, whichever the fuck one. I don't care. It's stupid nonetheless. But she has her own federation over there.
What's wrong with that?
It's the apartment wrestling ones.
I know.
That's where these fucking wrestlers are coming from. These are Japanese Yoshi apartment wrestlers.
They still have that. Do you remember the magazines back in the day, Chad and Mark?
Yeah, remember we talked about that? Stanley
Kubrick?
No, the one editor, the one wrestling magazine was into filming this. But she started this shit, and that's where these Japanese wrestlers are coming from, is some Yoshi fucking apartment wrestling shit that she films with her husband.
Nice. Nyla against Britt. Where's Vicky at? Why did Vicky now get thrown away? Wasn't she supposed to be a big to-do with Nyla to keep her, together? But Britt continues. Holy hell. She didn't get the win, but damn, she looked great taking that beating.
That's what I heard. This is when I left the house, just before this match, and I was bummed, but Sylvan filled me in, told me it was a good one.
It was.
Good match, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Your biggest talent, maybe not in ring, but overall your biggest talent in the women's division, and you're shitting on her to set up a fucking rematch of the first women's world title.
Exactly what it's going to be.
To have that winner go against the current women's champion. Why? I don't get it.
And then Archer against Phoenix. Winner gets to be part of the ladder match. I didn't think this was main event caliber for AEW. I really didn't. Phoenix. Why did I call him Felix? He's not from the
Felix the Cat.
Yeah.
Well, we got Bad Bunny. We might as well put Felix the fucking Cat in there.
He's talented. He really is. He's not in this spot for me. Archer is losing anything he had as a monster because now he's being spotlighted as this, let me shake your hand, let me give you a high five. And Jake Roberts should just collect his paycheck and stay home.
I'm with you. Yeah, again, I didn't see this, but I heard about it. He is big man, decent in the ring, to your point. I don't think he's a main event guy, and he's lost any heat he had. I just don't even see the connection with Jake the Snake Roberts anymore.
I'm going to tell you something to make both of you guys feel good about this match. It could have been worse than... It still wasn't worse than the fucking Raw main event.
Oh, I agree.
So,
I agree.
There's that. There's a positive there.
There's a positive. All right. We're long on this segment, so thanks for sticking around. We're going to wrap this up. Quick comeback with the WWWF fantasy booking that these guys have. And let's tell you about Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, everything that you got for wrestling apparel. We have
Al Snow Depend undergarments.
Yeah, all those too. Promo code Can Crushers, all one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. You save 10%. Here comes Al when we come back. WWWF fantasy booking.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hello, everyone. This is the Rock God Ricky Gibson from 4 Minutes of Heat, and you are listening to the greatest podcast in professional wrestling, Can Crushers.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor, joined by Chad the Glorious Guru and our host, Mark the Mark Martinez. And in this segment, we are booking our fantasy Worldwide Wrestling Federation. We'll do a Raw, SmackDown, and our Saturday Mania show.
Challenge. It's not Mania.
It's Challenge. Okay, sorry. Challenge, yeah. We send Mark our booking, and Mark puts together the show. So Mark has the rundown.
So, normally I make you guys start with a match, but we've been starting with matches, so I thought, all right, this is the first time in forever of booking a show that we'll go that way once and see what the fans think. So, Sasha on Raw starts with a promo.
She is furious about her would-have-been title defense against Britt Baker, in which Reba took Britt's spot at the last moment, if you remember. Sasha gets the win with the bank statement, but when she turns around, there's Britt with the molar eclipse, followed by that cross-face mandible claw she does. So Sasha's furious. She's telling her you picked a fight with the wrong boss, bitch, and I'm going to catch up to you and get my hands on you. Up on the screen is Britt Baker in a dentist's office, and she's like, whoa, because she's watching it on TV from there. She's like, Sasha, I think we got off on the wrong foot here. I want to congratulate you on a fantastic match against my friend Reba. I'm just trying to do the right thing and stay in this TV title tournament, earn that, and then I would love to get in the ring with you. But none of this was personal. And you had a whatever, insert dental term here, and I just wanted to take care of that, so I loosened it up with the molar eclipse, and I tried to extract it with the cross-face mandible claw, but you proved to be a stubborn patient. That's okay. I'll catch up with you some other time and finish the job I started.
Nice. Damn. Right after that, McGuinness rolls down in the ring. He calls out the Empire.
Yeah, I had a bad feeling about this after hearing the report of Bobby Roode being in a car accident last week during the Texas storms in his hometown. So Nigel gets him down. Aldis is there, Camille, Wardlow, and James Storm. Nigel informs us that Roode is out. He broke his fibula in 2 places. He's out indefinitely. Aldis is like, why? He said, can we pick a partner so Storm can continue? Nigel's like, I considered that, but I want all of our titles to be won in the ring. I don't want somebody to, come in as a partner. We're not having the Freebird rule type deal. But he says, what I'll do is we're going to have a tag team gauntlet this show. And on Friday Night SmackDown, if you can find a partner, Storm and his partner against the winner of the gauntlet for the tag team titles.
Damn.
Storm's shaking his head. You see Aldis lean into him, whisper in his ear, and Storm's eyes, you just see him kind of light up. That's where the segment ends.
Ripley comes down to the ring, and she's got something to say.
Yeah, actually, it starts in the back. She sees Lita and says, hey, can I want a match, and I'm willing to put my WrestleMania spot on the line. The people that wrestle in a main event at WrestleMania ought to be worthy, and I've lost a few matches, and if I'm not worthy, I don't want to be in it. And Lita's like, all right, if this is how you feel, this is what you want, go to the ring. I have somebody in mind. I'll send them right out. And she says, anybody you want. So she goes to the ring, awaits her opponent, and Lita sends Havoc to the ring. Don't roll your eyes at me. It's not what you think. So Havoc is in the ring now. She gets a fast start on Rhea Ripley with some avalanches in the corner. Goes for another one. Ripley picks up the boot, kicks her in the face, and then just goes hog wild on her with big power moves, clotheslines, shoulder blocks, power slams. As Havoc is regaining her footing, boom, big boot to the face, pins her 1, 2, 3. So this seemingly unstoppable monster gets a little bit squashed by Rhea Ripley, who's got a little bit of a skip in her step now, as she has a winning streak going. It's only one, but it's a winning streak, and it gives her maybe a little more confidence heading into WrestleMania.
Is a streak?
Is one not a streak? I don't know.
One is not a streak. One could be lucky.
Okay.
One could be lucky. After a commercial break, we have Melina and Rosa against Lana and Naomi.
For the same reason we saw Lana and Naomi against whoever the hell they fought on Raw, Mandy and Dana.
But see where I have it? Buried
right, yes, thank you. Yes. We saw Melina join Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell last week, so now we're seeing them again. That was 6-woman tag team action. This is a traditional tag team match. Joined on commentary, though, the commentary team is joined by the Sure Thing, Casey Catanzaro and Deonna Purrazzo, who want to watch this match. They're a newly formed team. So are essentially Melina and Thunder Rosa, although they teamed up in the NWA. Melina and Thunder Rosa get the win over an outmatched Lana and Naomi. They get in the Sure Thing's face outside the ring, and a brawl breaks out between those two teams. Did they have a name in the NWA? Marty Bell, Thunder Rosa, Melina. Was there a name to that group? I don't remember. No, I don't think so. No. Okay, I'll have to think of one. So anyway, that ends with all 4 women brawling.
And as they're brawling, McGuinness is in the back, and he's inviting Lashley into his office.
Yeah, this is title turmoil 2.0, it seems, for Raw. Nigel informs Lashley he must forfeit the King of the Mountain title because he's the world champion now. You can't have him holding the world championship and the number 1 contender title. Lashley's upset, but he understands. But then there's a knock at the door, and in walks Shane Taylor. And Shane's like, okay, what the fuck's happening with my rematch that I was supposed to have this week? Because if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Shane Taylor and Bobby Lashley ended in basically a no contest, no decision. Nigel's like, you're right. You have a match promised. On SmackDown, you will face the winner of Big E and Braun Strowman for the King of the Mountain title.
Wow. Cut to a break, and then we come back, and Lita's there again.
Lita has some announcements for WrestleMania. So this is kind of an old school thing where we drop a few matches here and there. We tell you what we're going to see. So we obviously know the main event of WrestleMania. Lita determined that it's a fatal 4-way elimination match. But she has since added, in light of what just happened, a tag team match. It will be the Sure Thing against Melina Perez and Thunder Rosa at WrestleMania. There will be a 20-woman over-the-top rope battle royal this year at WrestleMania. Names to be announced, so please stay tuned for that in the coming weeks to find out who will take part in that battle royal. And then the big one. This will be a street fight between Mercedes Martinez and Raquel Gonzalez. There are no disqualifications, no countouts. Only way to win, pinfall or submission, falls count anywhere, in the building or out of the building, this will get settled.
Wow. And right after that, we head to Calgary again, huh?
Yep, we're in Calgary in the dungeon, Stu Hart's basement. And the camera pans the walls, which we are led to believe is what Nat is looking at. And she says, you see the picture of, like, the Hitman and the Anvil.
So it's a point of view. People in communications use it as a point of view.
Point of view, yes. Okay, so it's her point of view. So you see Hitman and the Anvil beating Demolition at SummerSlam 1990. There's a picture of them winning the belts. You see Bulldog and Owen with all 4 belts. You see Owen and Jim Neidhart as a new foundation. And then you get to the picture and it stops there. And it's Stu in that old-fashioned Superman pose with his hands on his hips. And she's voiced as a little girl. You hear the screams from the basement. And it cuts to, again, Stu saying, you put your knee in that head and twist them this way. And you hear the screaming. She says, but that was a different time and a different place. Things have changed. I want to be the next generation of trainer. And I want to do it in a kinder, gentler way. So she's showing this young woman this submission hold. She's like, here, get me in this crossface. And I really want you to, crank on it. And the young girl is afraid to hurt Nat, so she's trying. And Nat's like, no, I want you to crank on it. No, you're not listening to me. Crank on it. And then Nat, sits out, reverses it, and applies it to her. And she goes, this is what I'm talking about. And she's cranking, and the lady's screaming. And there are other students there. Professor Neidhart, please, you're hurting her. Let her go. Let her go. And they finally manage to pry her off. And she's got the sadistic look on her face. And she says, it's a kinder, gentler world now. And I want to be a part of it.
I actually like where this Nat's going. Hopefully WWE does not steal that, because that's actually something she could do.
Copyright.
Yep. That's a Can Crusher copyright. Break, and then we're back for a men's tag title gauntlet, Chad.
Yeah, we're going to have 4 matches to determine who faces James Storm and his mystery partner. Match number 1, The New Day versus Otis and Gable. Seems it's going to be a mismatch. Otis and Gable kind of getting it handed to them. Kofi Kingston gets thrown outside the ring. Or I'm sorry, not Kofi Kingston. Chad Gable gets thrown out of the ring. Kofi sits on the ropes and to let him back in. Meanwhile, the ref, for some stupid reason, is turned around dealing with I forget his damn name. I keep thinking Big E. The other one.
Xavier Woods.
And when Gable comes through the ropes, he crotches Kofi Kingston. Kofi turns around and he's hit with a splash by Otis. 1, 2, 3, and the New Day is defeated.
Break, next team comes out. We're going to do that during every match, essentially. So you can run, yeah.
Next team, you have Otis and Gable, and have FTR making their return to the WWWF. This match turns into a total squash match. FTR's just light years ahead of them. They end up pinning Otis. So we're to our third match after the break. FTR, and down comes the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal. This was a match of the decade contender. These guys technical, everything crisp, the storytelling back and forth. FTR eventually gets the tap out win. Lethal taps out and Gresham's not able to get into the ring quick enough. Final match is FTR against, from SmackDown, Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Another good match. I don't think you can really follow the match beforehand, but they have a pretty good, pretty brutal match. FTR wins when there is a mistake with Cesaro giving his kick, and they end up pinning Bryan. So on SmackDown for the World Tag Team title, James Storm and his mystery partner against FTR.
Damn. SmackDown's hot. Women's tag match then.
Yeah, women's tag team title match. Last week we saw Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defend against Io Shirai and the Women's World's Champion Sasha Banks. This week Io Shirai is teaming up with Kairi Sane. Nia and Shayna don't exactly have the tag team continuity, guys. They are two individuals working as a team. We are surprised to see Io and Kairi working as a team. The double team moves to kind of bring their bigger opponents down. They essentially dominate this match, and it looks like the tag team titles are within their grasp. Just as the Genius of the Sky goes to do a high-flying move on Nia Jax, Nia pulls a referee in front of her, knocking out the referee and causing an automatic disqualification so that they can hold on to their championships. And the crowd chants bullshit.
I was going to say cheap bastards. Cheap bastards. Main event, King of the Mountain match. We're getting a new champ on Raw.
No. This is a qualifier. Shane Taylor get the main. New,
Well,
come on, keep up with us. We're going to have to limit your jobs. Big E and Strowman, typical big man match. It was power moves. It was superplexes. Some outside brawling. A couple of times, Braun Strowman hit his running around the ring shoulder block. First time it was pretty devastating on Big E. Second time he just kind of bowled him over. He went for it a third time. I think Big E finally, three strikes and you're out. Big E sidesteps him and trips him into the steps. Strowman absolutely obliterates the steps, knocks the pieces apart. Big E rolls him back into the ring and does his splash and gets a clean win over Braun Strowman to advance to the King of the Mountain final on SmackDown versus Shane Taylor.
Guys, when you sent me your card, I was like, It turned out to be a good show. You guys threw some stuff in, both of you, and I'm like, I don't know where they're going. I'm writing it, and I'm like, we'll see. Because the promos caught me off guard. I didn't know what was going to happen. All right, it's Friday night, and we're starting with a match like I normally like to do, and it's Ripley against Storm.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley still out to prove that she deserves to be in the World Championship match at WrestleMania. Takes on similarly sized and experienced Toni Storm. The commentary team says, they're comprised of former wrestlers. Sometimes you get in a losing streak, but when you win that one, it starts a domino effect. So Ripley needs to keep that domino effect going. She does. It's more of the same. Shoulder blocks, clotheslines, power slams, big boot. Toni Storm gets in little offense. Rhea Ripley is now, Mark, on a streak.
2 is still not a streak. 3 is a streak.
Holy cow. All right.
A lot of women to start the show as we find out Tommy Dreamer has called me and asked a favor that if we could switch segment 3 and 8 because of the ramifications of the match. And James Storm's partner is still not there. But second is Raquel Gonzalez against Dakota Kai. And, them guys against Martinez and Knox. I'm sorry.
Yes. No, that's all right. So Mercedes Martinez in a promo says, you like to think that you're the fan favorite now and people have forgotten about your checkered past. Well, I have a partner tonight who hasn't forgotten your past. And she brings out Tegan Knox. Let's not forget what Dakota Kai did at War Games. to Tegan when she turned on her team. So it's Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai against Mercedes Martinez and Tegan Nox. The smaller women started off. Dakota Kai's like, all right, yeah, you want revenge on me? Let's settle this. Nox is getting over on her, tags Martinez, who works over Kai. Kai gets the hot tag to Gonzalez. Martinez tags in Nox, but Raquel Gonzalez is chasing Martinez around, cannot get her hands on her, works over the much smaller Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox creates some separation, goes to make the tag to Martinez. Martinez jumps off the apron, starts to walk up the ramp, says, sorry, Chiquita, this ain't my problem. Pump handle, splattering powerbomb by Raquel Gonzalez on Tegan Nox, pins her 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Nice.
The women are stealing the show because they're the only ones on the show right now. It seems the women are going to have the first hour and the men are going to have the second hour. Next up is Flair and Evans against Allison Kay and Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, Tessa Blanchard went to some NWA roots and chose Allison Kay, which, guys, if you're on social media at all, you're going to call bullshit on this because these two ladies do not like each other whatsoever. But in my world, they're best friends and tag team partners. This tears the house down. Charlotte and Tessa put on a clinic. Allison and Lacey do some good work. In the end, it's Ric Flair handing Lacey Evans a roll of quarters. She punches Tessa Blanchard in the face behind the referee's back and gets the pin. Rick looks at the camera and says, Tessa, honey, that's another trick that I taught your daddy. And then he and Charlotte woo at the camera because Tully was going for the quarters.
Next out, Nick Aldis makes his way to the ring, and he's got something to say.
Yeah, Nick's out there with Camille, and he's in his ring gear, and this is the first time that we've seen him in ring gear. It's always been suits, and he's like, I'm a little bit tired of sitting around. He was like, I've got this championship here, the World Championship, and he issues an open challenge to anybody in the back for an NWA World title match. Immediately, AJ Styles music hits. AJ comes down. Camille opens the ropes for AJ. They shake, Aldis and AJ shake hands, and what a match. Just technical, again, back and forth, believable, the selling, their moves. They keep it in the ring the entire time. End of the match comes, AJ gets on the outside, gets ready to hit the phenomenal forearm, shoots up, throws it. He covers Aldis, 1, 2, and Roman Reigns and the Usos hit the ring before the count of 3 can come down. They just start beating the living shit out of Aldis. AJ gets a chair, comes back into the ring, and Reigns and Usos are looking at him like, you're WWF. You need to help us. He's the, intruder. He doesn't belong here. AJ looks at him, shakes his head, yes. Reigns turns around to celebrate while the Usos are holding Aldis, and AJ just fucking lays waste to the Usos with the chair. Reigns turns around, AJ floors him with the chair. Reigns goes down. AJ's beating on the Usos a little bit more. Nick Aldis gets up, clotheslines Reigns over the top rope, and Usos are thrown out. AJ and Nick just kind of look at each other. AJ rolls outside, grabs the NWA belt, gets back in, and he goes to hand it to Aldis, and he says to him, I've held this before. I want to hold it again. And he hands the belt to Aldis, but he doesn't let go of it right away. And they have a little standoff, and the match ends.
Nice. Back to the women is Sasha and Bayley connecting again to take on Britt and Reba.
Yeah, just very quickly, who was it that just caused a technical difficulty? Was that Miggy? Somebody headbutted a table and you guys shook and froze for like a second.
Chad.
No, that wasn't me. That was
I
him.
had changed, so I thought it was one of the...
It's Maximus.
Okay.
He's still all there. He's all in.
Yeah, women. So I had a lot of tag team matches. So Sasha promised she was going to catch up with Britt. Britt promised she was going to catch up with Sasha and finish her dental appointment. Needless to say, these two women rarely get in the ring together. It's usually Reba getting the majority of the bumps in this match. Sasha needed a partner, turned to her old friend, sometimes nemesis, Bayley. Eventually, Britt and Sasha are in the ring together, and Sasha just beats her from pillar to post. Britt crawls away, tags Reba. Sasha, however, stays on Britt. They tumble to the outside of the ring. Reba's in the ring. Bayley now comes in, hits a belly-to-Bayley suplex on Reba. The referee can't count because Bayley's not legal. Sasha's chasing Britt all the way up the ramp. The referee's saying to Bayley, you have to get her back in. She's legal. Ref has no choice but to count to 10. So Britt and Reba get the win by countout in this match.
It's Bayley to belly is what it's called.
Yeah. Bayley to belly, right.
Yeah. After that shenanigans, we have a 6-women match.
Again, yeah, tag team matches, trying to feature a lot of the women. We go back to Melina Perez, Thunder Rosa, and Marty Bell. This time they are taking on the reunited Riot Squad. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Crazy Mary's joining her old friends.
Good.
Yeah. A lot of roughhousing by Crazy Mary and Ruby Riott, but just way too much technical prowess from Melina and Thunder Rosa. And we get some tenacity and a ferocious streak from Marty Bell to match Crazy Mary's. In the end, it's Bell getting the pin on Liv Morgan. The short thing comes out just to kind of get a closer look. Brawl does not break out, but they're on the outside of the ring, looking into the ring. Let's not forget, 2 of those 3 women in the ring are taking on the short thing at WrestleMania.
After that, we're back, and we have the King of the Mountain. This is a title match now, Chad.
This is a title match. Shane Taylor and Big E, 2 guys have a lot of respect for each other. They shake hands before the match. They do their spots. It was just a very good, almost great big man match. Ends up, Shane Taylor does the pounce on Big E, bounces Big E into the corner, where Big E hits his head on a buckle, kind of staggers back out, and Shane Taylor hits him with a running lariat and pins him for the 1, 2, 3. Shane Taylor is your new King of the Mountain champion.
Wow. Making a big impact right off the bat coming in, Shane Taylor is. Now it's time for the main event. The Gauntlet winners, FTR, are going to take on James Storm and somebody for the tag titles.
So Storm comes down to the ring by himself, kind of, okay, where the hell is his partner? Because we knew from earlier in the program he hadn't arrived yet. FTR comes down. There's jabbering back and forth. They get on the mic. They're like, where's your partner? Either get his ass down here or you're going against us by yourself. Storm takes a mic. He's like, yeah, going against you guys by myself seems like an option. But here's my partner. And they're looking to the ramp. He said, no. Why don't you look behind you? So the cameraman, using perspective, turns and shoots from the front, and standing behind FTR, Hangman Adam Page, who it is announced is now signed to an exclusive contract with WWF.
WWWF.
WWWF, This match is everything you could expect from these talents. They beat the shit out of each other. Near falls. There's some brawling outside the ring. Finally comes down to Dax of FTRs on the outside. Other guy gets trapped in the ring. Storm tags Page, but he hits a super kick. Page does buckshot lariat in and gets the pin. Adam Page and James Storm, the new NWA World Tag Team Champions.
So essentially keeping the titles.
Essentially keeping, but they
are the new tag.
They won the titles in the ring.
But the show has like 3 minutes left. What's going on? Lights out, and here comes
these fucking little bastards from AEW, the Young Bucks.
Oh, God.
I'm shocked. As much as you love them in our AEW segments, why would you sign them to the WWWF?
I don't know what they're doing here. I'm watching this from the gorilla position. Basically, what the fuck is going on here? So they get in the ring, and they're getting booed, and they start just running their fucking mouths about management. I mean, this goes beyond...
This is to me
what the females have talked about us, the owners, the bookers. This goes beyond anything else, and I'm tired of it at this point. I go out on stage, and it's like, what are you guys doing here? You're not welcome here. They start talking more shit about us, and I'm just like, you're not worth fucking TV time. And tell security, get these guys out of the ring. And they say something about my kid. And I'm like, all right, that's it. And all of a sudden, music hits, and out walks Jim Cornette. And he says to them, he said, I've been waiting for this minute since this new wrestling has started back up, since we've gotten back to old school. I was hoping you little bastards would stay away, but I know you're not gonna. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, my fellow cult of Cornette member here, I'm going to take care of this for you. The Young Bucks put a challenge. They're like, 60 days, you're our butler if we win the match versus whatever you want. I'm like, okay. Jim whispers in my ear, nod. Okay, we want the AEW tag team titles put up next week against a new team. They're like, fine, whatever. There's nobody that can match us. And I just look at them, tell them, you just made the worst mistake of your life, boys.
Show's off.
And the show's off.
Nice. Wow. I'm intrigued. I'm always intrigued. Chad leaves me with hangers. Oh, my God. All right. So Saturday's show is all about the TV championships. It's the semifinals. Sami Zayn takes on Eli Drake in the opening. And it's only matches to go on Saturday because it's roughshod.
Yeah, there's no matches on standby or anything, straight to the ring. Sami and Eli Drake trade. It's a masterful throwback technical match along the lines of Steamboat and Flair in their 3-match series. Sami goes for the haluva kick at the end. He misses it, but he doesn't hit the turnbuckle. He turns around, and Eli Drake hits him with a DDT, rolls him over, gets up in the corner, jumps off, and hits him with a knee to the head, covers him, and gets the 1-2-3. Eli Drake advances in the title tournament.
To the finals, yeah.
Next up is Tessa against Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville continues to say that none of this is personal. She's not concerned with anybody's tea. She's just in to win. She takes on Tessa Blanchard, who is nursing an injured jaw after getting punched by was it Lacey Evans with the roll of quarters. Sonya knows that. Again, she doesn't care. She works the jaw, stomping on Tessa's face. Knee strikes in the corner. That thing that Io Shirai does, where she jumps in the air and comes down with the double knees into the chest, into the face. She is working on Tessa's jaw. Tessa does come back, hit some nice suplexes, some good mat wrestling. In the end, Sonya sends Tessa into the ropes, goes for a back body drop. Tessa snatches the Fisher Woman suplex, because it's a woman's match. Snatches the Fisher Woman suplex, cradle, 1, 2, 3. Tessa is heading to the finals. The two ladies shake hands. Sonya's bummed. She kicks the ropes, she punches the mat, but she gets it. It was a good match.
It's called a Meteora. Can you remember the word Meteora?
The perfect plex?
No, the knees.
The knees. Oh, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, the fisherman suplex. The Meteora. Yes, I will remember that now.
Third match is Moose against Karrion Kross.
This match turned into I can do everything that you can do, only better. Brutal clotheslines. Moose is just, he's looking like a fucking moose, no pun intended. End comes down, Kross misses a knee in the corner, kind of hobbles out. Moose hits 4 pounces in a row. Kross is down on his knees, looks up at Moose, gives him the double finger. Moose hits him with a short clothesline to the mat and pins Karrion Kross. 1, 2, 3.
Moose against Drake next Monday on Raw. Wow, for the TV championship. Final match of this show is Britt Baker against Shayna Baszler.
Yes,
that final will be taking place on SmackDown.
Okay. So Tessa versus whom? Let's find out. The 4 horsewomen obviously have the tag team championship, of which Shayna is one half, and they're looking to collect more belts. That starts here with a win over Britt. Not so fast. Britt knows she's up against a tough opponent. Bam! Hits the molar eclipse right off the bat. Stuns Shayna. Takes her down in the crossface. Locks in the mandible claw. Are we going to get a submission this fast? Nia Jackson on the outside screaming, saying, pull yourself to the ropes, pull yourself to the ropes, listen to my voice, follow my voice. She does. She's able to get to the ropes to break it. Reba is encouraging Britt to stay on Shayna. She also works the jaw and the teeth in this match. She puts Shayna's mouth over the ropes and puts her foot behind her head and pulls on the ropes, trying to loosen her teeth. You can't keep Shayna down for long. She's just too big and strong. She tortures Britt during the course of this match. Ends up getting a pin. Gets to 2 before Reba puts Britt's foot on the ropes again, as we saw in previous weeks. Nia's not having it. She pulls a Braun Strowman, gets a head of steam going around the ring. Boom! Knocks Reba out of her shoes. Shayna is working over Britt in the ring. Britt goes to the eyes. Shayna is blinded. Britt now is just beating on her, pounding on her, trying to pin her, can't get the pin, stomping on her. We've never seen this side of Britt before. Who runs to the ring? Sasha comes in and jumps Britt. Britt and Reba scurry away. Sasha's yelling up the rampway at her, get back here, bitch, let's finish this thing. The announcer says, due to outside interference, the winner by disqualification and advancing to the finals, Britt Baker. So now she has won 2 cheap shit matches involving Sasha, even when Sasha wasn't in the match. Shayna is furious. She was a shoo-in. She comes up behind Sasha, locks in the rear naked choke, and puts Sasha out to close the show. All of these stories intertwined.
I love Saturday show. All right, guys. I asked you guys to send emails about our WWWF segment that we do.
If Jock Sampson said anything, no.
Nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of you guys sent in some emails, and I copied and pasted them to the notes. So, all right. Troy from Altoona. Guys, love the fantasy segment of the show.
Yes.
But I wonder if you may actually create a whole new show for that, as it doesn't get watered down. So what I think Troy's saying is that we're intermingling things. And Troy, if I'm not representing you right, is like we have wrestling and then we have our fantasy. So maybe our fantasy show becomes its own then, because we can go longer on these fantasy bookings and stuff. So I do like that. I mean, this is something that we all talk about, and I'm giving it to these guys for the first time, so they have something to think about. And we'll continue it on the show for a while, but it's a possibility that could be its own possible show. Okay. And own, all right. So that's Troy from Altoona, Pennsylvania. Gil from Lubbock. I'm thinking Texas?
Texas. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Love the podcast, but I've been skipping through the fantasy stuff. Just not my thing. All right. Thank you for your support. Just throwing everything out there that I got.
I never liked the Von Erichs. I just want to make that clear.
That's a lie.
Gil from Lubbock.
It's a lie.
It is a lie. I love the Von Erichs.
Doug from Jersey. I've been a Can Crusher fan for a couple years now. I love everything you guys put out there. You guys are pretty in tune with the business. Who you ever sat down... Oh, I think it meant have. Have you ever sat down to start your own federation? I love the fantasy booking, but possibly on a different podcast. Give it some more time. So,
all right, so that's 2 now saying, hey, maybe this ought to be its own thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Julie from Pennsylvania. I'm not into the fantasy booking you guys are doing. I miss the rewinds.
Okay.
And I think I know who this is from. But, again, Jason from Pennsylvania. You guys suck, but I love Can Crush. Keep the spotlights coming. The fantasy stuff is okay. The reviews were cool, too. So Jason just is riding the middle of the boat here, saying he loves us, but apparently we suck because he knows us individually. But he loves Can Crushers, and he loves the spotlights, and we didn't ask about the spotlights, you douche.
But aren't we the Can Crushers? I don't know if he knows. Like, we're the ones that are on here, so how do we suck? But
I don't know what he's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably fucking some friend of Pat's or something.
I don't know. So that's everything. Those are the 5 emails that we got. There's something to think about that, yeah, maybe it is... because we all love this fantasy booking thing. We really do.
I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Yeah, that's great feedback, though, guys. Seriously, thank you all very much. All 5 of you that wrote in. That's great feedback. Thank you.
So that's pretty cool. It's something to think about. It really is. It can be placed out whenever then. Same platform, this, that, and the other. It's just its own entity then. So we're not having stuff, and we could call it the whatever that's down the line. All right, that segment's long. The whole show's long. We're going to take a quick break, come back with some news, touch on IWC from last week, love them while we have them, and we forgot to tell you something that happened in AEW that's pretty big.
Hey, everybody, this is Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express, 9-time NWA World Tag Team Champions, 2017 WWE Hall of Famer. You are listening to Can Crusher Wrestling Podcast.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is I, the Guru, in studio with Mark the Mark, and not being served any kind of refreshments or food, John the Professor.
Yeah,
I told you. Not this week. My stomach's growling. I don't care. Not this week.
I'm actually hungry, too. Just shooting that out there. It is Sunday morning, guys. Side note, you guys that are listening to us don't give two shits. We'll be recording again next Sunday as Chad has announced he's going on his fishing trip. But to you guys that listen to Can Crushers, it will still be on at the same time. I can't wait till we get back to a Saturday when I can get tanked again. I do like those shows. Nonetheless. All right. So let's do the news first, as we touched on a big announcement from AEW this week, and we forgot to talk about it during the AEW segment. Paul Wright signs with AEW. Wow.
That is big news. He's had about a 30-year career.
Bro, that is long.
Yeah. And there really was nothing left for him to do in the WWE. So this is exciting. This is a fresh start for him.
I'm glad that he did, and then seeing he wanted to be more active than what WWE wanted to use him. They basically only offered him a Legends contract, and he wanted more, and he feels he has more in the tank. Since, he's lost weight, gotten in better physical shape, and that, I think this is a good move. They don't have to run him to
death,
but he is somebody that could be in and could really help out. Interesting note, if he takes or wins the AEW title at some point, he will be the only wrestler in history to have held all the major titles except the AWA World title.
Yeah, I like it too, because I'm always looking at the back end. This guy, I don't know him personally, but he's been in the business for a while. He's a big man. I think he only helps to teach the Wardlows, the Archers. Hager needs help. I know he's been around the business, but he still needs help. And other big guys coming in, if he's going to be kind of like a producer or something like that and get into the ring still, I'm all for it. I really am. I think he's got some left in his tank. Stuff like that. I think it's a good move for him. I don't see why he wouldn't. There was something else I wanted to touch about before we talked about IWC this week.
Love them
No, we got Love 'em while we got 'em. I got that one written down. I didn't write this one down. John, how about you? You want to some hot takes from IWC this week? We don't have to do the whole spotlight because we're just up against time, and spotlights have just been. And I apologize to the IWC family for this, and we'll make sure that we're on task to do for the anniversary show, which is coming out on March 20th, that you can get on the IWC network for only $9.99 a month, or if you just want to buy that show, it's $15. Yada yada yada. We'll continue to promote them and everything. I dropped the ball on IWC this week because we've had so much going on. That's why we didn't do a spotlight. Because Jeremy from 2 to 1 Media says, where the hell is your spotlight? And Mark says, I've just been too goddamn busy.
So the card was fine. It was a good card filled with fine matches. Nothing really jumped out at me until the very end. The last match, we got some twists and surprises there at the end with the cashing in of the reset button and how that all worked out. That was a great cliffhanger to keep you in suspense to see what happens on their next card.
Yeah, I did like that. I was hoping Koger would get the title. I've been seeing him in the ICW that's taking place, that hardcore stuff that I've been watching a lot from Port St. Lucie, Florida, a lot. He gets love down there. I've always been a fan of the Culmination. I was hoping a little bit more for him to actually get the title. The whole Lebanon Dawn thing is still amazing. I love what he does. His stipulation in the match was it's going to be 2 against 1 against
a handicap match. Yep.
Yeah. We see the return of Danny Gray that made the announcement here on Can Crushers on her spotlight. She pulls no punches and just goes right after the dime piece and beats her ass. We love both of them. We love the dime piece. We love Danny. Do we get to see dime piece make it in the ring now? Has she been training? Has she what's going on. Plummer announces March 20th is the 20th year anniversary show. We have had matches pop up, and we'll touch on those, but the big thing is John McChesney's returning on March 20th.
That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
He's got to clean the shit up with his group.
He does. He really does. And we do get an interview. Jack Pollock is back. He knows who has done this because he's injured. And he pretty much says Payback is a bitch.
And you have an idea, Mark. I don't know if you want to share it, but you texted me who you think he's referencing.
I don't want to share it yet.
Okay.
I don't want to share it yet because I know Plummer takes our stuff sometimes and make it his own. But thank you for at least coming on record and saying that I did text something. I think Chad knows where I'm going to. I think I told him already. I don't know. Jock is a bastard, just running away.
And a fat bastard at that. I was surprised he could run that much.
Raylan, kind of little weird segment there. So she can't wait for a big surprise. Did you not see that segment, John?
I don't know. That does not ring a... I'm sure I did, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Raylan was sitting on a pair of steps, I was going to say. A set of steps, a hallway or something, and it's like, I got a surprise.
Ah.
It was a quick little thing. Maybe you went to get popcorn.
That's always fun, though, in wrestling. Surprises are always good. Or cookies. Yeah, that's my thing.
All in all, though, the first show of the year, I enjoyed it. The teasers at the end were great. Jeremy is waiting for us to stroke his ego. 2-to-1 Media is amazing. Guys, if you need anything shot on film or anything like that, 2-to-1 Media is a great place to go. They do weddings, they have drones, they have everything. Check out their work at iwcnetwork.com. All right, I'm sorry I'm being generic for IWC, but it was a good show. It really was.
It's good to see them back.
It
Absolutely.
John, do you love them while we have them? And I'm still thinking what the hell I dropped the ball on bringing. I know, it just popped into my head.
All right, so obviously earlier we talked about a couple of wrestlers we lost whom we did not celebrate, unfortunately, while they were still with us. In this segment, we want to celebrate those people who are still with us. And hopefully they hear this and realize how much they are appreciated. So this is called Love 'Em While We Have 'Em. Last week I brought Hoss Funk to the discussion. This week I think it's Chad, right, is bringing a name to the discussion.
Yeah, this one, this is somebody that many years ago we actually almost lost to an in-ring injury. Definitely curtailed his career, but we actually almost lost him. I'm going with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a big pick. I was a huge Stone Cold fan. I had the rubber bendy in my Ford Escape. I had it sitting on the mirror. On the rear view mirror when we drove around doing our shenanigans and everything. I would have signs when we went to State College. John would try to rip them before we got into the event because John, not a huge Stone Cold fan. That was my era of being. I even bought my own shirt, Martinez 316. Do you remember what it said on the back? I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Remember that shirt though.
Yeah.
Well, John,
I do remember that shirt, but I don't remember what it said on the back.
That doesn't surprise me that John's like that. He's pretty unfeeling. I mean, he didn't even cry when Elizabeth and Randy Savage got back together.
Right.
I laughed.
That was my era of being just like Stone Cold. I would be. I know somebody that was bigger than me as a Stone Cold fan, Snake Severance. Just walking around shaking his head and flipping people off. I loved it. It's the man against, I go to work every day and I just want to fight the boss. I love that storyline. But what he's done prior to that, the Ringmaster, that was a horrible thing, but it segued into Stone Cold. When he was a Hollywood Blunt, at one point he was a great wrestler as well. Then he turned into a brawler when he was Stone Cold. I like what he does with his podcast, too. he just had Sasha on, and I watched that one. Yep. And he doesn't care if Vince doesn't want him to say this, because this is his podcast. Yes, Vince puts it up on all his outlets, but this is Stone Cold's. So he calls Sasha Mercedes, and he wants to know why she picked this and that. And I don't think it's scripted. Ours is not. And he can still add, helping people on the mic and stuff like that. I think Stone Cold has been great for the wrestling business.
I'll tell you why I didn't like him. It's because he was so damn good at what he did, and he feuded with guys I loved. I could still remember the first time I hated him. Mark, you were a huge Barry Windham fan. I was a huge Barry Windham fan. He was a good guy at this point, and he was feuding with the members of the Dangerous Alliance. And Austin dropped the TV title to Windham and then won it back, 2 or 3 weeks later. And guys, when you don't hold a title for long, it's embarrassing. You'd almost rather not hold it than have that short of a reign. And in an interview, Austin says, all I did was give you the distinction of being the shortest reign television champion of all time. I can't tell you how that burned me, because Barry Windham did not deserve that. His stuff with Bret Hart is just awesome. It's so good. And whether he was the bad guy in Calgary or the good guy in the U.S., he kind of did the same things, but put a little tweak on it. It was brilliant. It was so good that even when this whole industry was out of the closet, I thought there's really something between them. There has to be. They don't like each other. And then it wasn't the Montreal thing. It was another documentary behind the scenes thing where Bret comes up, hugs Steve, and says something like, he's talking to his brothers, like, one, you throw a drink at Steve and he'll think Dad did it, and then grab Dad. My brain melted. I'm like, there is no way these guys are working this out beforehand, because they hate each other. I know they hate each other. He was believable in an era when everything was out in the open.
Yeah.
My first memories of Steve was reading about his world-class wrestling and turning on his mentor at the time, Chris Adams. The long hair. I remember him beating Bobby Eaton for the TV title, and I was legitimately pissed because Eaton was, the fucking man at that point. Hollywood Blondes, simply one of the best tag teams that there's ever been. Two guys that were in real life, really good friends. Who can forget? You have your Jeremiah, you have your David. Well, I have my Austin 316, which says I just kicked your ass to Jake Roberts. Only reason WWE survives today is because of Austin in that era. He carried that era. You want a technical match, it'll be a technical match. You want a brawl, it'll be a brawl. And said, unfortunately, his career was cut a little bit with the injury in the match with Owen Hart, but he still is involved with the business today. The podcast, with Sasha, he's had some other guys on there. It's funny as hell. If you haven't seen the one with him and The Undertaker, or the two, he goes pretty in depth with The Undertaker and gets a lot of stuff out of him that most people don't know. This is somebody that I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon, but this is somebody that when they pass, that the wrestling business,
it's going to be crippled.
It'll be devastated. It'll go on, but this is a shot, will be a shot to the heart whenever he passes.
And you give love a bad name.
Okay, dude, love.
All right. John, do you have anything? I know you're busy, and you got it.
No. Other than one other thing, he really never forgave Owen Hart, and I can't blame him. Guys got Brett and Jim Ross were like, just call him, just say you're sorry, just go see him, and Owen wouldn't do it, and that still hurts Steve Austin, and I don't blame him because the Harts prided themselves on never hurting anybody, and it was an embarrassment for Owen to face that. Still, you work with the guy every day. The right thing would have just been to say, I messed up, I'm sorry. It's too late for that now, Unfortunately, it's too late for that now. And I don't know what's in Austin's heart right now, but I know that bothered him for a while, and maybe to a certain extent still does, and I can't blame him for that.
Yeah, so, John, raise our glasses. You end it perfectly all the time.
To Stone Cold.
Stone Cold. All right, guys, great show. Don't forget, again, this coming Wednesday, we have our Spotlight with Ricky Morton. Chad and I tackle that. As I announced at the beginning of the show, we're now kind of partnered with Mobfee. Check out that app. It's free. You can watch TV, listen to a couple other podcasts. And then again, here in the next coming weeks or month, June 19th, wrestling will be in Du Bois, and we will be very much involved with it. And we'll let you know tickets and like big names that are going to be on that show. Just want to reiterate that. Check out our
big names and Al Snow.
And Al Snow. A lot of our episodes are getting put up on Mobfee as well from the start to the end. They'll all be there in time. Anchor, all our spotlights are slowly getting put up there, and then just a weekly show is thrown in as well. So, yeah, a lot going on with Can Crushers on the technical side and everything. I know John's got some running to do today. Chad's going to do nothing. I got, real quick and we'll wrap this up, Sony sent me the test edition for the baseball game for 2021. So I get to play some of that and give them my feedback. So I'm excited for that. That's what I'll be doing after I edit the show today.
I'm glad you turned me on to Peacock. I watched the whole first season of Everybody Hates Chris. That is one of the greatest shows ever.
Well, you're going to have to get Peacock to watch WrestleMania because the network will be done by WrestleMania. Just
That's
a quick,
crazy.
You can watch Fastlane on the network or Peacock, but by WrestleMania, it will only be on Peacock. So get in now, pay the $9.99 that you're paying the network. It's a wash on money, but you get so much more because you're going to get all the WWE Network stuff, plus you get all The Office. I love The Office.
Yeah.
And I watched still the Young Rock on that, too.
Yeah, yep. That we forgot to talk about that. How great of a show is that?
I didn't watch the second one yet. That's actually on the agenda today, too.
Yeah, it's very good.
I have not watched them.
Oh, they're great.
It's awesome. It's a fantastic show.
The Iron Sheik and the Andre the Giant look so much like them.
Yeah. The guy that plays Rocky Johnson, the Samoans. Honest to God, if you haven't seen Young Rock and you're a wrestling fan or a fan of The Rock or you're a fan of that era, it looks like they went into the early 80s and picked these guys right out of history. It's unbelievable the actors they got to play these people.
And like the show for the show, don't think other things, because I've heard other podcasts already bitching about it that Junkyard Dog and the Iron Sheik weren't going to be hanging out in Hawaii. It's not exact.
Relax.
Yeah, it's a fucking TV show. Enjoy it for what it is.
I'm sure at some point, High Chief or his family book those guys at some point. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, relax.
Guys, next week we crowned TV champions on the WWWF. I'm excited to see who you guys have given the TV championships to. And, yeah, I'm just excited. We'll talk more off air about the concerns and criticisms that people have for that segment. I like leaning one way, and I'll see what you guys think. But, all right, find us everywhere. That's all I got to say. You guys, take it away.
Remember, Chad, just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Got it right!